Golf Business Live. Here's Jay Karen and Don Ray.
3 o'clock on Friday. Don, Ray, good to see you. Everybody, welcome to Golf Business Live Friday edition. Today is Friday, May 8th, I believe. Don, it's 2 days before Mother's Day, just reminding you. So I am Jay Karen. I'm CEO of the National Golf Course Owners Association. With me is Don Ray, owner of Augusta Ranch Golf Club in Mesa, Arizona, NGCOA board member, former member of the PGA Board of Directors. Don, you do know Mother's Day is this Sunday, right?
I do know that Mother's Day, you know, when you lose your mom, you know, it's funny, when your mom's alive, you forget Mother's Day. And then when your mom passes away, you never forget Mother's Day again. But obviously, we're also celebrating with my wife. You know, she's an outstanding mother.
Well, good for you. Hopefully you planned ahead of time and had Amazon ship something pretty wonderful.
Yeah, right. I gave her a 6-foot stick that she can use against me.
We'll get to that soon. That's really good. So just as a reminder to everybody at home listening in, we have a Q&A module here in the Zoom technology. That's where you would post your questions. We have NGCOA staff on the line watching for the questions coming in. Don and I will get to as many of those, and our special guest later, we'll bring him into the Q&A as well to see what he has to say about some of this stuff. But you know, it's hard to believe it's Friday. I can't keep track anymore. The only way I know it's Friday is because we do this show. I mean, it's just, we're living in this bizarro world.
It is weird. You know, I like my routine, and now I don't even know what my routine is. I mean, and everything's changing. I mean, you want me just to jump right in on what's going on at Augusta Ranch right now?
I do, but let me remind folks who our special guest is today. Then we're going to get to what's happening. So in a little bit here, we will have Ron Jaworski, an NGCOA member, joining us in our conversation, talking about what's happening in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and at Jaworski Golf. So we're very excited to have Ron join us, and we'll bring him in about 10 or 15 minutes. But yes, definitely, I want to hear about what's happening in Mesa. But you and I know that the 6-foot stick has made its way across the country. I mean, it was written up in a local newspaper. It might have been in Pennsylvania. Golf course operator took the idea, and it was showcased in a newspaper article about golf's opening and our ability to maintain, social distancing. And so congratulations on going national with that 6-foot stick there, Don.
Somebody asked me if I was selling them. I'm like, no, it's in your maintenance yard. Just go cut your own piece. There's no selling. You know, what are you doing? But it's a small world out there. You know, you never know. So be careful what you come up with. You never know. I just thought it was kind of a funny idea. So, but I'm glad guys are using it and gals are using it. I know it does work. So the big thing here, our governor came out and said you can open up retail stores today. Restaurants can open on Monday. So we are gearing up to open up the Scratch Pub and Grill. Obviously, we've been doing takeout, but we've elected, because we're open on Monday, we repainted the place. We're going to treat it kind of like a soft opening as far as just the energy goes, right? I mean, obviously, I don't know how many people are going to show up. Our governor hasn't put a capacity limit yet, and maybe he's going to. I'm not quite sure. Some are saying, hey, whatever your C of O says, that's how many people you can have 50% of those of that number in your restaurant. I don't know what he's going to do. Right now, it's kind of strange. We're talking about you can't sit in the same cart with somebody, but yet tables of 10 are going to be okay. So that boggles my mind. But hey, I'll take it because we're still trying to make a little bit of money out here. But modifying the menu and cleaning everything and painting everything and just getting ready for, kind of get back to normal. The golf shop opened up today. I'm still not taking cash. I'll start taking cash on Monday when the restaurant opens up. But people liked coming in. They like the foot pulls on the door, because those are such a high traffic thing. I can't use them every single time. Yeah. It's funny. The first time you use it, you don't know how hard to pull. So it's kind of awkward. You're like, there's no way I'm going to get used to this. But after you do it, 5 or 6 or 10 times, you get good at it. Like I said, is that something that's going to stay around? I don't know. I installed them. Let's see what happens. We'll see how many people use them. But having the golf shop open is great. The people are very happy. And once again, we're allowing people to do something that's good for them mentally and physically. I had a little scare on the social media side. We have a very loyal Augusta Ranch player. She's awesome. She had a birthday party, and they all went over on the south side of the restaurant. It's kind of a greenbelt area actually, but she took a big group picture of all her friends saying she's having her birthday at Augusta Ranch, and she didn't connect us on it. I remember friends on Facebook, so I saw the post, but I was like, oh, please, because there's probably 20 people in this picture, right? All hugging.
Oh.
So whatever, you do the best. I've talked to every single one of them, but they were having a good time. So just dodging bullets, and and really excited to talk to Ron today. Obviously got to meet him when he was our keynote when I was emceeing our conference, and he's very good, and seeing what he's going through on the other side of the United States, that's why I'm glad we brought him on. I'm telling you, everybody's sitting in carts. I mean, they're riding by themselves, but still, I got 80 people on the tee sheet. I'm almost running out of carts. It's crazy. So really curious to see how he's battling of what's going on the New Jersey and the Philadelphia side, man. Because it's a tale of two governors.
Yeah. Let me ask a couple questions about the operations here. So it's got me thinking when I go out into public, and like I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I see their staff constantly cleaning the handles of the freezers, and just really walking around. Anytime someone grabs a cart or a basket, they're wiping them down as they get them, so that they can guarantee that control, I guess, of that everybody that grabs one, it's been wiped down and all that. I'm just trying to fast forward here, at least in thinking of this whole new normal thing. And from a cleaning standpoint, where do you think this is going to go? And for how, like, I'm just thinking there are going to be people that are going to be germ obsessed. There are people out there in society that are like that, but now a lot of folks are going to be very conscientious of where they're touching, what they're touching, has it been clean? And the onus is going to obviously feel like it's on the staff to make sure every surface is clean all the time. How are you going to manage that as a business operator, that in those in-between moments when there's no customer at the counter, that someone's wiping stuff down? And what's happening there in your mind as far as operationally?
Yeah, there's no doubt our keyboards and phones have never been cleaner. I mean, sometimes that touchpad on your phone can get kind of dirty. Not anymore. I don't know. You're right. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting. They're saying, hey, don't even wear gloves now because it's making you feel like you're okay, and you're not. Even if you're wearing gloves, you got to put something on. You got to wash them. You got to wash your hands whether they're in gloves or not. I think we're all wearing gloves here just because it's a little easier on our skin because we're putting that antibacterial stuff all the time. But Jay, I think it's all going to tone down a little bit, but it's certainly, I don't think some of this is going to go away. Now, I'm saying this, and this is what I'd love to hear from Ron too, is in Arizona, it's 110. They're like, there's no way COVID's alive. Maybe we shouldn't even sanitize our carts anymore. I mean, nothing lives. COVID's not going to live when it's 100 degrees outside. But listen, I'm still sanitizing the carts. That's just the way it is. But I think the high traffic areas, I don't know. 2 months from now, I think we'll clean them once a day, right? Right now, we're cleaning them once an hour. So that's what I would think.
And I also wonder where the responsibility will fall on inspections. Because, I was talking with an operator the other day and thinking, all right, from a health inspection standpoint, it's usually limited to the food and beverage operation. That's where a lot of this gets focused. You get a score that you have to post sometimes up on a conspicuous place in your business that this place is clean. And, when are other times that your business gets inspected, right? Usually, a lot of times it's when you're wanting to do something with water and the environmental people have to come out and inspect and do something or what have you. But I wonder if, like, the Departments of Health and Environmental Controls, are they going to add to their inspection requirements anything that has to do with the prevention of communicable diseases, right? I mean, is that where this is going to fall? At some point, some regulatory agency is probably going to add this to their list of things they have to look for at businesses, and you get scored and rated. I mean, do you see it evolving in that direction?
I don't know if it'll involve that much in that direction. I will say this, when the inspector comes out and does the kitchen, they very rarely go to the beverage cart anymore. They used to all the time, but they're supposed to, and they kind of don't. They never come into the golf shop. I don't have, everything's ready made, but still, I think that's what's going to happen is they're going to say anywhere that you're serving food, even if it's prepackaged, inspector, walk around everywhere and just see what they're doing. I know when we're opening the restaurant on Monday, I told Nick, I said, hey, be ready. I think an inspector is going to be coming out. We're probably lower on the list because they'll go to the big chains first, but I know that inspections are going to be much harder. It's always looking for the little black stuff on the ice machine, right? We all know about that. We know about the little fountain tops that we pull off and put them in the bubbly water, right? I think it's now they're going to be double checking everything. Inspections are going to be very, very, they're not, sometimes you get to know your inspector and you get a good grade and you do the regular things. But you get a new inspector, it's always rough that first time they come because they're checking everything because they don't know you, and they want to know what your reputation is first. They're not going to, they want to see what you do.
And they have a reputation to build, right? As you got to start tough,
No doubt. And they're good at it. Don't get me wrong, man. They scare the heck. But yes, I think inspections they're not going to, I don't think they have to add anything because if they really do them to the level they're supposed to, they're nasty and they're hard to pass if you're not doing everything and every employee is doing it correctly. There's always one silly employee who doesn't change his gloves while the inspector's there. Well, they're not going to let you off easy anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm sure, as any industry full of small businesses, we will adopt, we will survive and do what we have to do. But, it's why we have associations like NGCOA, PGA, and others is to make sure that there is a reasonable approach to any of these public policy paths that we may go down here, right? So we're all in this together. But just a reminder to folks to use the Q&A form. Nancy Schultz from Georgia let us know that her 6-foot stick is a broom, so keeping people out, which is fantastic. But okay, so all right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to bring on our special guest. So I'm going to cue my staff to play a little special music while we introduce our guest here. Let's see if we can get this thing going. So I'm very excited to have with us today a celebrated NFL quarterback, having spent most of his career in one of my favorite cities on the planet, Philadelphia. But more importantly, even more important than being an NFL quarterback, Ron and his family run Jaworski Golf, which owns and manages 7 courses across PA and New Jersey. One of my favorite members. Ron never fails to come to our conferences or send his family. Always swings by the NGCOA booth at the PGA show and gives big hugs to everybody on staff. He's a member of our advisory board. Ron, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jay, good to be with you. Don, nice to see you. And I'm with my wife, Liz, as well, and she says to say hello. BJ's actually working today, so we're chilling a little bit.
How are they doing? How are Liz and BJ doing?
Everyone's doing great. These are unprecedented times what the golf industry is dealing with from a business perspective as well as a human emotion perspective. So it's been very challenging, but as a family, we're doing well. Everyone's healthy. That's most important. As you guys have just said, we will get through this together.
You're right. I want to kick off by sharing a couple things that I saw this week in the media about golf, and then I want to ask some questions about your business. But, there was an article in the New York Times today, or a kind of an opinion piece of a guy who started writing about golf, and it sounded really negative at first. He was lamenting at how terrible of a game it is, and then he talks about bringing his 7-year-old son out to the course, carrying their own bags last week, walking. He's reminded why he hates the game, but then he sees his little son for the first time hit a ball about 40 feet, and he runs after it, very excited. And by the end of the article, he says, "I hate golf, but I love it too." And it's like, all right, positive piece in the New York Times on golf. Washington Post comes out with a little bit of research this week. They asked Americans about their support for opening a variety of types of businesses. And more than 50% essentially were saying, no, we shouldn't open any business right now. But those that said, hey, we're okay with the following businesses getting open, golf was at the top. And we're talking above retail shops, barber shops, gun stores, dine-in restaurants, nail salons, gyms, movie theaters. Golf was at the top. Now, if you look at it politically, this is funny. It's like, 30% of Democrats were okay with it, but it's still higher than everybody else. And 60% of Republican-leaning folks were saying, let's open up the golf courses, again, above everything else. So at least if there's a bipartisan agreement here, is that golf is at the top of the list of businesses that are good and should be open right now. And thankfully, by Monday, all 50 states will have golf open in some degree. So Ron, what do you take from that positive vibe right now in the media for golf?
Well, I think when we're talking about the coronavirus, we know, it's been stated that staying at home might be the best thing. Now that we're starting to see that may not be true based on some of the tests coming out of New York now. So many people that have stayed home, a high percentage of people have contacted the coronavirus. But, based on everything I have seen and heard and what I know is golf is the safest sport. It's safe to be outdoors. The sun is a great antiseptic. Exercise is wonderful. And social spacing, when you look at golf courses, and I did a little study myself over the weekend because we opened up in New Jersey on Saturday, and Friday we opened up in Pennsylvania. And I took the number of rounds divided by the number of acres at my 7 golf courses, and it came out that each player on the golf course had more than 2 acres of social spacing. So where would you want to be except in a golf course if you're in a time like this where you do have the social spacing and you're not even around anybody except maybe the people you're playing with. And in New Jersey, we're only allowed a twosome every 16 minutes. So you have clear social spacing. In Pennsylvania, we're going 15-minute intervals with foursome. So it's a little bit different, and they're neighboring states. But I think both governors are doing what they have to do. They're thinking, safety first, and then open up what they feel is to me, golf is essential. I'm saying that in a kidding way, but then we know it's really not. But to me, to us in the business, yes, it's essential.
And the thing is, what golf delivers is essential, is what you're saying, right? Now, golf just happens to be the mechanism that delivers these essential things for the human experience. So we're with you on that. I mean, there's no more biased audience than us to say to agree with you on that one.
Well, Jay, it's interesting you said that. There was an article written in the Philadelphia Inquirer by a writer who lives on one of my golf courses. I didn't even know this. He lives on the Valley Brook Country Club in Gloucester Township, New Jersey, and he's not a golfer. He doesn't golf at all. But when the golf course was closed for 41 days, he began to walk the golf course and see nature and see people and just walking around and enjoying the golf course ambiance. And he goes, I'm not a golfer. I go to the bar and have lunch or dinner or a drink because I've never been to the golf course. Being in the golf course really showed me why people love the game of golf and they love being outdoors. And this comes from a non-golfer.
Oh, that's good to hear. We're hearing a lot of anecdotes of drawing in people that never had really given it a chance. And so, Don, are you seeing the same thing? Are you seeing some folks in the homeowners, area kind of wandering around the course and making their way to discover what this is all about?
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes that's a problem. We do have golfers on the golf course, and everybody's walking in the neighborhood and asking if they can walk on the golf course. I mean, Ron, our governor called golf essential, and he took a lot of slack for that. But he said golf is going to be essential, and we're gonna keep golf open, and he did the whole time. I mean,
right.
I can't imagine being closed, Ron. I mean, the margins just aren't there, and man, we got our PPP money, so we're going to make it through. But no question, if there's 2 things that can come out of this, it's one, we've built some relationships with our governors and our mayors. I mean, just because, let's really just have those relationships flourish. Let's bring them out to the golf course so that when we have something happen again, now we're a warm call, not a cold call. That'd be a great thing. And then, Ron, listen to you say what you just said. Man, we need PSA commercials, 15 to 30 seconds playing on every channel, talking about how good golf is for everybody. When Play Golf America, they had that website, playgolfamerica.com. And they had there were just little blurbs of celebrities saying, Play Golf America, Play Golf America. I mean, maybe we get back to something like that. I don't care what the catchphrase is, but let's have some smart marketing person come up with one. And we hashtag the heck out of this thing. And we do PSA commercials on local cable channels and talk about that. This is the perfect time to leverage really what golf is about, which, like you said, it just happens to be the delivery device, Don, of these great things.
Yep, you're absolutely spot on. If there's one thing I've learned over the last couple of months is working with the government agencies. A lot of these people we deal with, the bureaucrats, don't really understand the game of golf and what it means to people. And, we're fortunate to have great organizations like the National Golf Course Owner Association. In New Jersey, we have the New Jersey Golf Course Owner Association. And we've had to literally educate people now on all the positives of golf. It's not a bunch of 70-year-old men with cigars in their mouth walking around the golf course. I mean, there's so much going on in the game of golf, as no one knows better than what you guys and we have done with the Golf Course Owner Association, promoting the game of golf for young people, for kids, for ladies, for anyone to get involved with the game. So I think this, it kind of cracks the door open for an opportunity. We have to educate people about the game of golf as well.
You're right. So, Ron, on this show every week, Don talks about, where the rubber hits the road, what's happening in his operation out there in Mesa, Arizona. You oversee multiple courses. And so you have kind of a corporate office, I'm sure, with a small team that oversees what's happening. You've got, you're very involved operator. How is your business? So, getting through this, and, how are you navigating this just as a company? I mean, as Jaworski Golf, like, how has this rocked your world, and how are you doing?
It's very fluid. And I think that's the hard part about it. When we operate our business, we like everything kind of structured. and all of a sudden coronavirus comes in and the structure goes out the window. And a major part, and I was interesting to hear Don's comments, and as I follow everyone on Facebook and all the other social media outlets now, I try to learn from what other people are doing, because it's not only about golf. As Don was talking about his food and beverage operation, what can we do? What's the occupancy going to be? Within our company, weddings are an integral part of our success. We had in books 360 weddings this year, 360 weddings. We don't know what it's going to look like in 30 or 60 days. If we have a ballroom that seats 250 people, can we put 250 people in there? I doubt it, the way things are going, but I don't know. So it's, I like this structure. I like to know, we got a wedding, it's going to be 250 people, and we book it for 250 people, and everything runs very smoothly. If the governor says, okay, it's only 125, 50% occupancy, I don't like that. No one likes that. What's going to happen with our restaurants when we open our restaurants? Every one of my clubs has a sports bar. Why not? I got a football guy, right? So Joe Flacco is one of my business partners. So Joe hangs out. We got a Super Bowl MVP. What's going to happen with my 7 tap taverns when my occupancy is 100 and they say you're only allowed 25? My whole model changes. And that's how we have to be fluid. We have to adapt and we have to adjust. But it's the unknown that I think is fearful to my wife, Liz, and my son, BJ. And they run a lot of the day-to-day operations. I come around and, hang out, but they do all the heavy lifting. But these are the things that we talk about as business owners and golf course restaurant owners.
I'm sure, there are going to be some sports metaphors here before this ends. I'm certain. And you're an offensive player. You like to have a plan and you work the plan, right? So, the defense is the one that has to have a plan, but you're trying to figure out what's coming at you and you're responding to that. Do you feel like your business is on the defense?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, we are definitely on the defense. I'm an aggressive, positive guy. And right now, my wife gets up earlier than me in the morning. She's up at like 6 o'clock. I'm usually up at about 7 o'clock. And the first thing I'll do is after I brush my teeth, say, "What did you hear?" It's like, it used to be we had a plan and ready to go. What did you hear? You start thinking in a negative way, rather than the positive way. It's going to be out in Mesa. It's going to be 80 and sunny, man. We're going to rock today. That's kind of the attitude we have. And all of a sudden, you start playing defensively. Will the governor issue any statements? Any new orders from the governor? You start looking at more of things on a negative perspective rather than a let's go positive, let's make it happen approach that is instilled in me as a 17-year NFL football veteran. It's always go, 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 aggressive. Let's go make it happen. Now I'm kind of on the defensive. So that's a good analogy, Jay.
I may have a few more up my sleeve before the show is over. Let me ask you about, because how many employees do you have across your company now?
Well, here was the hardest thing of this whole coronavirus. When we realized we had to shut down, we had to lay off 240 people. This is in late March. And as you guys know, the people that got laid off are really the backbone of any organization. These are the hardworking people, and they are going week to week with their paycheck. And, we're going to survive. Some of these people are not. And the fact that they lost their job, now they're out of work for 6 or 7 weeks. I know it pains me when I think about it, because I know how important it was for those people to get that paycheck week to week. The PP money has certainly helped. We've been able to keep some people on, but with the food and beverage operations closed, the PP money, we can't even utilize it. So quite honestly, the SBA has to make some adjustments to that. It just doesn't work the way it's presently. It just does not work. We've run the numbers 1,000 different ways. There's, right now, PPP 3 weeks in, and on the food and beverage side, I really have very few employees. So I can't meet the 75% unless I just pay people. And I don't think that's really what the idea is, to just throw money like a big helicopter, come out and dish out money. It just doesn't work. So hopefully, that can get readjusted, but it really is about the people, as I was alluding to, those people that lost their jobs. And that was back in March. Right now, we probably up to about 350, 400 people, and with 7 golf courses and food and beverage operations. So, we brought people back on the golf side. We've kept our maintenance crews on every golf course through the shutdown. So the golf courses look like Augusta right now. When we opened, it was a ball mark, a divot. It's amazing how the rough grows in the green side areas when carts don't drive over them, and 100 carts a day. And you know what that's like, Don. They just, make their own path wherever they want to go. And I'm going, wow, we are lush. We are green. It's beautiful turf, with you can see the difference. But the golf courses with no play, and we all know, and Don, you love this statement. You probably heard it from all your superintendents. This is a superintendent's dream. They get to maintain a golf course with no golfers.
No. And when you say Augusta, you mean Augusta Ranch, right?
Augusta Ranch. Of course I meant Augusta
Absolutely.
Ranch.
That's what I figured.
That's exactly what I meant.
No, well, let me ask you about those employees a little bit more, Ron. How do you communicate with them to keep their spirits up about possibly coming back? You know, some of them have probably been with you a long time and they got to, take jobs when they can and so forth. But how do you keep that esprit de corps as positive as you can with Jaworski Golf Team, in what's happening? And even the folks that are still working with you, not knowing what the future holds, this unpredictability is causes anxiety for a lot of people. So as a leader there, what are you communicating to your folks?
It is very challenging. And I'm going to give my wife some props on this one. She handles a lot of the social media, and she will every few days go on and do a social media message to all those people that were employed. They were furloughed, so we intend to bring them all back when we get up to full operation. So it's not, they were furloughed, they weren't laid off, so it is our intention to bring them all back. We all know that some of the excess money that was paid when they were when they applied for unemployment insurance, they were making in some cases, more money than we were paying them. So some people are actually probably pretty happy not to be asked to come back quite yet. But there's always, again, it's the uncertainty of what's going on. But I'm going to give my wife a lot of credit because, she's the one day to day that dealt with a lot of the people, the service people, the bartenders, the servers, the kitchen. She dealt with a lot of those, our salespeople, although we've kept our salespeople because weddings and the golf outings and social events are a big part of our business model. But she's the one that constantly communicated via social media, just basically sending messages out to all our employees that have been furloughed.
That's good. So, looking down the road here, as putting just the operator hat on it, and let's assume that the fear of communicable diseases remains with us for a long time as customers, right? I mean, this is a very different situation than post 9/11 or after the recession, when people came back when they felt they could spend money, right? That's different than right now. There's a different variable here. Yes, everybody's getting hit economically. There's no question about it. But there's this other layer of concern about public health that really we've never seen. And so if that becomes a new normal in society for a while, at least for the next year or two, I can't, it's hard for me to imagine that on October 1st, everybody's going to be fine until there's a vaccine and everybody's taken the vaccine. Not just that it exists, but that it has proliferated the populace, right? So until that happens, looking at your operations, what are the top things that are on your mind that I'm going to have to deal with and power through and change about my operations because of that fear?
It's the fear of the unknown, Jay. And this is pretty much how we start off our discussions every day. What are we going to look like when we come back? What are we going to look like if there is not a vaccine for 6? It's likely by the end of the year, but what if that doesn't happen? There is some risk. We all take risks. I mean, that's just, we were all born, we're all living, and we're all going to die. It's just that's life. That's the way it is. So you try to think about that as you integrate the future, and it makes it very, very difficult. We try different models, we discuss different models, but the one thing we do know, it's going to be different. What we were March 22nd or March 23rd, when Governor Murphy and Governor will finally lift the restrictions, we don't know what we're going to look like. So that's why it's fluid. You got to be versatile, you got to be agile, and you've got to be thinking all the time. We think of our 7 operations just like Don is thinking about is. Everyone is different. Every community is different. Your members are different. Your public play is different. The restaurants, the food and beverage, it's going to be different. So right now, rather than, as you made a great analogy earlier, rather than be the quarterback and being aggressive, I'm playing defense right now and putting that game plan together for what we're going to look like next week, next month, and maybe next year. You got to forecast a little differently now.
That's good. You're putting together the offensive playbook, right? You have to.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be an owner's helmet we're going to have to wear after this, just so we don't. I mean, yeah, it is all about the people. And I do worry, here, obviously, winter visitors, this is how I make my money. I mean, there's only 4 months out of the year. Do I actually make a profit? And will that only be 2 months if everybody only comes down for, 6 weeks instead of 8? I mean, I'm worried about the Canadians. I know those are the things that keep me up at night. I mean, right now, like I said, I'm just trying to get through the day, right? I'm just trying to call the play and try to just get a first down. And all of a sudden you tell me I have to win this game? Well, hold a second. What does that mean? And what's next season? I have to look at next season and what's, oh man, like you said, will some of the employees come back who if they take the 36 or 39 weeks of unemployment, $850 a week? I mean, there's some of my employees that aren't going to come back. They're making more being unemployed. And then when they come back, I'm going to have to fill those spots. And one thing for sure, though, with the unemployment, it was getting rough to hire quality people because unemployment was so low. So there is, a chance now to kind of reset your business. It's a shame because you build your relationship with your staffs, but there is kind of a reset now of, okay, we had to lay some people off for furlough them. They got better jobs, or, better jobs not having a job, it seems, for unemployment. But yeah, that next year scares the heck out of me.
We know in this business, the margins are razor thin. It's not like, we're making tons of money because we own a golf course and we're running a golf course. We are working our butts off to make a small profit every single year. Now, hopefully you think, okay, we have real estate, we have land, maybe there's some appreciation, but it's an ongoing enterprise. Hey, Jay, how many times we sit out there at the convention and talk about, the negativism in the golf industry. It's a hard business. It really is. And then now you throw in an epidemic like we're dealing with right now. We know it's going to be tougher. I wish I could project what was going to be, and there's no one that can. So but I do know this, it's going to be different, and I don't think it's going to be any easier. It's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah. As I like to say, we're in many businesses under one roof, right? We're in the farming business, which is one of the most difficult industries to be in no matter where you are, because you're weather dependent, soil dependent, everything. So we just happen to grow turf grass, right? So we're in the farming business, we're in the entertainment business, we're in the sporting business, we're in the restaurant business, we're in the event business. It's crazy. But as I like to say also, we're a land rich, cash poor business. In fact,
this is exciting.
The way what we're looking at doing is, when I was back in the lodging industry, there was a very famous book in the industry called "So You Want to Be an Innkeeper," and it was widely read by people who thought, I'm going to run a bed and breakfast. My honey and I, we're going to retire and run a bed and breakfast. And there was this big book, "So You Want to Be an Innkeeper," and it was all about scaring the hell out of them about what it's really like running a bed and breakfast or an inn or what have you. And it's not as dreamy as you think it is, right? And so I'm gearing the staff up to put out some materials about, so you want to be a golf course owner, and having folks like you tell your story in this piece that say, like, this is what it really is like to run a golf course, the nuts and bolts of it, what it's truly like to have debt service you got to pay every month, and to have weddings that get canceled on you, and all of these things that you have to deal with as a business owner. It's not just I get to own 200 acres and tee it up with my buddies.
Jay, you mentioned something really interesting, and I get a lot of random thoughts at this point in my life, and you mentioned, hey, we got to pay taxes, and this week and next week paying my real estate taxes. I've been in the business 40 years and have made every payment timely, every real estate, and as everyone knows, real estate taxes are pretty substantial. So as we are cutting our checks for the accounting department this week and next week, we'll all be current, all the checks will be out. I'm going to personally call the mayor of each of the cities where my golf courses are at, and I'm going to tell him, I'm going to be very clear to him, I have never missed a payment in 40 years, been timely. I'm not sure I can, in 3 months, the next quarterly payment is going to come timely. I'm just not sure. And here's maybe the trickle-down effect of business. All of a sudden, these municipalities and townships are not getting the real estate taxes. Now that impacts firefighters and policemen and services that they have to provide. So there's a real trickle-down effect of that if we are not successful. So that's why I think our government's got to be, a little more aggressive in maybe opening the country up, get our businesses operating, so we will be able at least to make some money, not only maybe to put something in our pocket, but to pay those very expensive real estate taxes.
I hear you. So Don, do you have any questions for Ron before I close it out with a little bit of an optimistic question?
Yeah, I got a question. First I want to say you missed the most important business that we're in, and we're in the people business. Every time we hire somebody, I love it because the department heads will hire them, but then I process all the paperwork for them. And it's a top opportunity for me to sit down with them and get to know them a little bit before they join the team. Tell them my why of the facility, right? Because I want them to know who I am, because they're out there representing all of us every time they're out there. But I love to ask them the question, so do you like golf? Oh man, I love golf. That's why I want to work at a golf course. Well, how do you feel about people? Because that's what you're going to be dealing with every day. And some are happy, some are sad, some are mad. You never know, but you better love people. And that's what we're all about. And that's what those legislators need to know, that's the reason we wanted to stay open all this time. It certainly was to pay our bills, Ron, but it also was because we know these people need to get outside. Wait till your courses open up, Ron. The people are going to be so grateful, and they're just going to be sharing. I mean, that lady, she takes a picture of her birthday party. She's 70 something years old. She's having fun, enjoying her life. And for that one snapshot, they weren't doing social distancing, but they do while they're out there, drinking their beer and eating their appetizers. So, here's my question for you, Ron. So
let me first comment. Let me first respond to your comment. Okay. Last week we opened up in Pennsylvania on Friday. Since Friday, I've spent 1 day at each of my 7 golf courses. So 7 golf courses, 7 days. I spent a day at each one. So it was 100% positive of the golfers that were on those courses. There is a pent-up demand. People are going squirrely. They want to get out. They want to play golf. And you talked about the people element, Don. People were so happy just to be out on the golf course, to see their friends. Although we had a mask on and social distancing, but people were just happy that the monotony of the last 6 or 7 weeks was broken.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's one thing too. I've worked some shifts, and I got out there and clean carts, and I'm seeing, I've stayed in this office too much. I mean, now I'm out there in my business and I'm talking to people, and they're like, Don, how's it going? And I'm like, man, I forgot that's the best part of this job is the people, because I was in here managing the numbers, right? And so I'm going to commit to that. I think everybody listening to this podcast, we should all commit to getting back into our businesses and talking to our customers, our staff, shaking their hands instead of sending text messages, and doing things like that. If we can shake hands, we'll do the elbow or the fist bump. I don't know. I don't even know what to do anymore when I see somebody. So professional
2 months ago, I didn't know what a PPP was, an FTE
right?
was.
You're joking.
Zoom was 2 months ago.
So as a professional athlete, I mean, that requires a lot of discipline and the skill sets, regardless of the sport, but certainly as a quarterback in the NFL. Any one of those skills you've used that, you found in the last 2 months, that you've really applied to this situation as a professional athlete? I mean, because now you're on the defense, like Jay was saying. I mean, you're a quarterback, You're trying to score touchdowns, not prevent them.
An audible. That was the one weapon I always had in my repertoire as a quarterback. I knew that defense was going to change. I knew that defense was going to try to trick me. They were coming up with a plan to beat me, to embarrass me, to make me look bad. And I'd get to the line of scrimmage, and I could kind of sniff out what they were trying to do. And then I would go to my audible to adapt and adjust to what the defense did. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to call an audible. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be an audible.
I like that. That flexibility, being nimble but ready. But here's the thing is that you had to be ready. The whole team had to be ready for that audible. So, let me carry that analogy a little bit further. With your team, if you're ready to be flexible and nimble and run, how do you get your entire team ready for the same? Because they like predictability as well. How do you get them comfortable with unpredictability?
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of trust that goes with that, Jay. And I think as we build our teams, and when you're looking at a golf course food and beverage operation in season, you could be looking at 100 team members. It's a big group of people. So you got to build a trust with them. And I'm very fortunate. Our general managers and our real leadership team are all veterans. They've been with us quite a while over the years. And we all have a trust in each other that, we're going to make the right decision. Hey, we have some knockdown, drag out meetings where, we don't always agree, but we walk out that room. We trust that we've come up with a decision that's going to work best for all of us. So I think trust moving forward is going to be very, very important. And again, it's that unknown that is a little bit scary to everybody right now. We don't know what we're going to look like in another week, another month, and especially in another year.
There's also something, I think, something to be said about we're all in this together, because, if this wasn't happening and it's a normal day, and there is this level of anxiety in your own business, then that fear gets stoked because what's happening on the ship that I'm in right here whereas everywhere else I'm looking, it looks okay, and this ship might be sinking. Whereas that's a different psychology with your own team than, wow, every ship right now is in this, and I think that changes that level of anxiety. So it's and so that maybe that's a shared experience that we're all feeling here, that we're all in this together. And
well, Jay,
I appreciate
I think just the optics of this are very difficult. As I said a moment ago, we opened our golf courses in New Jersey on Saturday and Pennsylvania on Friday. On Thursday, we had a dress rehearsal. We had all our general managers and directors of golf get with our staff that were going to be working and did a practice run for opening on Friday and Saturday. It's amazing the optic of this. People that have been coming to our golf courses for years, what they're now going to see. You have to check in. You're greeted by people with a mask and gloves. And you come in you can't walk in as a group of 4 and you're gathering. You come out, they're waiting in the in a parking lot as we call them to go to the first tee. There's no interaction. There's no gathering. It was kind of surreal. All of a sudden, their cart comes in. You got to carry your own bag, take it off. Here comes their guy with the sprayer disinfecting the cart. It's surreal. I mean, it looked different. And I think that's what the average customer is now going to have to understand. It's not the same, and it's for their own protection. And everything we do is by the book. Where I'm not going to mess with anyone's health. No one ever should. So we're going to do it by the book. And if some godforsaken reason someone does get ill, I at least want to be able to say we did everything we could possibly do by the book to protect not only ourselves, but our employees, but our customers.
I was on a webinar a few days ago because obviously we're all doing these things a lot right now, and I was asked the question about golf courses and their relationships with their online tee time companies, and it seems like a strange segue, but someone was asking me, what's different now? How might that relationship change because of this? And I had to think about that for a moment, but it has little to do with the economics of the price of a tee time and where you go, but it really now has to do with communication between the business and the customer. And so that direct relationship becomes even more important right now because that customer wants to know what's happening at Honey Run and why. What am I going to experience there? What are the rules and guidelines at this course? Because it might be different than the course down the street. And so, if you're able to communicate directly with your customer, not have an intermediary that may not be able to deliver that information or timely, what have you, the relationship between the customer and the course directly, I think, becomes paramount when we have all of these unknowns happening at the business now. So, I'd love to hear your take on that, maybe as our last topic today, that direct relationship with your customer.
Well, the technology, number one, is incredible nowadays. It's incredible. Now, unfortunately for us, we were going through a change in our online booking system when this hit. So this is where I have to trust my managers and general managers and golf directors. They were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal in the way they adapted. And I'll put it in a real life example. The governor, probably like late Wednesday afternoon, said, okay, we're going to open up the golf courses in New Jersey. Great. Everyone's all excited. People are going online. They start booking the tee time. Well, we're set up for foursomes. He says only twosomes. So all of a sudden, also you come in on Thursday and you got to contact, we are using Chrono Golf now, and we got to contact their people. So now you got to put all these smart people together because I'm not the most sophisticated guy when it comes to technology. And all of a sudden, they reduce the foursomes to twosomes. How do you let these people that have booked foursomes know that now there's only twosomes? So, and oh, by the way, are you a foursome in a household? Okay, you can play. Are you a family foursome? Okay, you can play. If you're not, are you foursome romantic partners? Yes, you can play. There were a lot of things that we had to work through in a very short period of time. And we're trying to book 80 to 110 golfers at 7 golf courses. So there's no way I'm going to sit at home going, okay, Joe, I want to change your tee time. If we did not have technology, and fortunately my son is brilliant when it comes to this stuff, he got it done. But technology now in our business is absolutely critical. So we can adapt and adjust to the difficult times that we've had to face.
Yeah, that's a good testament. Don, what about you? What do you think about that relationship and how it's changing?
Well, I'm going to throw it out there right now. The Golf Emergency Relief Fund, the PGA is going to match the next $2.5 million. And some of our vendors, they really, some of them stepped up, some haven't. Golf Now, Golf Channel should write a check to the Golf Emergency Relief Fund. They really should. I mean, it's supporting everybody who's in the industry, regardless, PGA, non-PGA, LPGA, right? It's just, you're in one of those associations, and those checks went out, and the phase 2 there's going to be more checks going out. So that would be a starting point. I'd love to see them do that. I know Kurt Albertson is so happy right now, Ron, that you mentioned Pro Golf, because he's probably he's always telling me to throw something in there, and I'm like, man, I like Tom Robshaw too. I like Tom Robshaw. So Kurt's happy. He's inspired. Now I got Supreme Golf. I got Al Weinheld out there going, "Are you going to name Supreme Golf?" I'm like, listen. I guess I'll just have, there's going to be product placement, I guess, Charles. I think that's what we're going to have to do. I'll have everything here on the walls at some point, be like NASCAR. But those relationships, once again, it's back to relationships. It's back to people. You can't just be a number. Everybody has to remember that in the golf industry, whether you're dealing with vendors, your customers, or your staff, it is a people business, and relationships and eye-to-eye contact will always be better than an email. I mean, lunch with somebody is critical. And so I hope we get back to that, where my sales rep actually stops by and doesn't need 30 minutes. He just to say hi. Those are the things that used to be great in the business, but we all became numbers all of a sudden. So let's get away from the numbers and back to the people.
I do want to get to one question here that we have. How are you breaking up groups gathering in the parking lot following golf? Other courses are allowing it, but we're trying not to. So I know, Don, you've got the 6-foot stick that you can use and bring to a group of folks and say, take a look at this. Ron, what are your folks doing to see when they see the gathering? How are they handling that?
We're yelling, we're screaming, we're hollering. And it is the antithesis of how we have to. The governor has this mandate, and we don't want to get our wrist slapped and mess it up for everybody else. And it's the antithesis of what we've done in the past. It used to be, hey, come on in a bar, let's have a drink, pay your bets off, have a good time. Now we're saying, get out of here. Get out of here. It's hard. But, these relationships have been developed through years with these guys. So they're so used to hanging out after the round of golf. They're going out in the parking lot and they're bringing their own 6-packs. No, we are chasing them out. Get out of here till we get total clearance or total open. We don't want to tick anybody off. So go home. Go home in your backyard and have your beer there. Invite your friends up, whatever you're going to do. It's not on my property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's too much at stake here.
Too much at stake, right.
Yeah.
Well, see, Ron, I was a professional umpire, so I eject people all the time. I say, get out, dude, done, out of the parking lot.
Let's hear you call a strike, Don. I want to hear you call a strike.
No, I'll do that. That'll be another show.
All right.
I just showed you my ejection.
Maybe a happy hour.
That's my ejection. You got to do the 2 steps before you throw them out. That's the best ejection. Boom, that's it. Magic word, done.
Hey, listen, Ron, I got one non-golf question for you from none other than Kurt Albertson. Will you be on the sidelines in the fall, and will there be fans in the stadiums?
Oh, boy, Jose, I really need a crystal ball for that one. I'll make this evaluation. Roger Goodell is one of the best commissioners in all the history of professional sports. They've decided right now that last night they put the schedule out. They just didn't. I don't think they just guessed it. Let's put it out. I think they must have a feeling that football will be back in the fall. I don't know what form it will be in. But I'm going to trust the commissioner that he thinks there'll be some sort of games being played, maybe half-empty stadiums. I don't know. But I think there will be some football, and hopefully I'll be working some of those games.
Well, we hope to see you doing it. Yeah, it'd be great to follow. Well, make sure you get an NGCOA pin that you can put on your lapel when you're on television.
Absolutely. Hey, awesome work, Jay. You guys, your staff are absolutely phenomenal promoting the game of golf.
We appreciate that, Ron. Thank you for being on Golf Business Live Friday edition with us today, Ron. Best of luck to you and Liz and BJ and the family and the team as you get through this crazy summer. Don, thank you for joining us. And to the folks at home, thank you for being here. We will see you next Friday, 3 o'clock Eastern. Thanks, everybody.
Safe.